take a slow, gentle breath and allow your body to soften. Whether you know it or not, you didn't come here by accident. Your soul was guided, pulled, nudged gently toward this moment. You felt something before even pressing play, a heaviness, a memory, a presence. That was the beginning. Archangel Michael has been standing at the edge of your energy, waiting patiently for the perfect moment to speak into your life, and that moment is now. You might not realize it yet, but your heart recognized this message before your mind did, because your heart remembers someone you loved, someone you lost, someone whose name still shakes the deepest part of your spirit even when you try to stay strong. That feeling you get, the sudden ache, the quiet longing, the warmth that comes out of nowhere, that is not imagination. Michael says, when love is real, it never disappears. It simply changes form. And the one you're thinking about, yes, that one, they are closer to you than you know. Not in a frightening way, not in a haunting way, but in a gentle, pure, soul-anchored way. They walk with you, the way sunlight walks with the morning, quietly, softly, without needing to be seen. You have felt them recently, in moments when you were tired, or lonely, or confused about the path ahead. You felt a shiver, a warmth, a memory, a song, a sudden thought of them that made no logical sense. That was them. A soul reaching toward you, trying to remind you that love does not end at the edge of a heartbeat. It travels further, much further. Michael says, your spirit recognized their presence even when your mind dismissed it. This is why you're here, because a part of you has been searching for closure, comfort, and clarity that the world could never give you. But heaven can, and heaven will. Feel the air around you. It shifts just slightly, calm, warm, steady. That is Michael's presence, strong, protective, but never forceful. He does not come to overwhelm you. He comes to hold you, to steady you, to whisper truth into the places where grief once lived. You carried so much pain silently, pain no one fully understood, pain you buried because you had to survive, pain you tried to ignore because feeling it hurt too much. But Michael knows. He saw it. He felt the tremble in your soul on nights you didn't speak a word. And your loved one saw it too. Not from a distance, but from a place of deep understanding, because they have been watching with the purest kind of love a soul can give. Before they left this world, they carried a fear inside them, not fear of death, not fear of the unknown. Their deepest fear was leaving without telling you what you meant to them. They had thoughts, words, feelings they never had the chance to say, not because they didn't want to, but because time is not always gentle. And now, through this moment, through this message, through Michael's presence, their heart is finally ready to speak, not in fear, not in urgency, not in warning, but in truth, in love, in the kind of peace that softens the sharpest grief. You've been feeling strange lately, memories resurfacing, dreams coming back, moments where you felt a presence in the room but couldn't explain it. This is not coincidence. It is not imagination. When a soul that loved you tries to reach you with peace, your body feels it before your mind does. The heaviness in your chest, the sudden emotion, the feeling of being watched over, these are the signs of connection, not loss. Michael says, "You have carried grief long enough. Now it is time to carry truth. The truth that they are not gone. The truth that they walk beside you. The truth that their love didn't end. It simply moved into another form of light." As this message unfolds, you will feel them closer, not painfully, but peacefully. Your loved one is not coming with warnings. They are coming with clarity, healing, and comfort that your soul has been craving for years. They want you to know, I never left you, not once, not for a moment. And tonight, their voice finally reaches you through Michael's guidance. This is only the beginning. Before you move deeper into this message, take one gentle breath, not forced, not rushed, but slow enough to feel your chest soften and your shoulders loosen. Because in this next part, your heart is going to remember things your mind has forgotten. Not memories that hurt you, but memories that heal you. Memories of love, of connection, of presence, of the soul who still walks with you in ways you cannot always explain, but you always feel. Michael says, "Your heart is wiser than your fear. Your soul recognizes truth faster than your thoughts can process it. And that is why you feel calm right now, because something familiar is drawing closer. There have been nights where you felt a pull toward the past, not to reopen wounds, but to feel a presence that once brought you peace. There have been moments where you found yourself thinking about them without any reason. Moments where the room felt a little warmer, a little quieter, a little softer. That's not imagination. That's resonance. That's soul memory. That's connection. Your loved one never left the fabric of your life. They only stepped into a different kind of space, one where time doesn't move forward or backward, it simply exists. And from that space, they lean toward you when your heart is heavy, when your spirit is tired, when your thoughts become loud. Not to interfere, not to control, but because love does not know how to leave. Archangel Michael stands behind you, not in a mystical sense, but in a deeply comforting one. You might even feel it as a warmth on the back of your neck, or a soft heaviness between your shoulders, or a quiet grounding sensation that tells you you're not alone. This is his way of anchoring your energy, of pulling you out of the storms you've been fighting for too long, of reminding you that you don't have to carry the world alone. He knows how much you've held inside, the grief you tucked away, the conversations you never had, the tears you swallowed because you didn't want to burden anyone. But Michael sees everything that your strength tried to hide, and he whispers, "Let the weight fall now. You are safe enough to feel again." As Michael opens this space, your loved one, the soul you're thinking of, steps forward in a way you may actually sense, not as a voice, not as a shadow, but as a presence made of light and memory. You may feel a warmth across your arms, a slight pressure near your hand, a sudden emotion rising, or an unexplained calm. These are the ways the other side speaks without words, and your loved one's spirit is reaching gently toward the parts of you that still ache, not to bring pain, but to bring closure where there was once silence. They're here because they asked for this moment. They're here because they love you, and they're here because you're finally ready to hear what they couldn't say in life. If they could speak through your heart, they would say, "I never wanted to leave you with questions. I never wanted you to wonder what you meant to me, and I never wanted my absence to become your burden." Their departure left empty spaces in you, the kind only real love can create. And yet, even in their final moments, you were the center of their thoughts. Not regret, not fear, not pain. You, your happiness, your safety, your future, your peace. Their soul carried love for you stronger than the world could understand. And that love didn't disappear. It evolved. Archangel Michael now places a gentle shield around your spirit, not to protect you from harm, but to protect you from the belief that you've been walking alone. He says, you are surrounded, not by absence, but by presence. Presence of angels, presence of guidance, presence of the soul who still stands where love lasts longer than life. This message exists because heaven saw the heaviness you carried and decided it was time for you to feel supported again. You've been strong for too long. You've held yourself together in ways people will never know. And now, you are allowed to rest. You are allowed to receive. You are allowed to be held. This is the beginning of a deeper message that will unfold slowly, like light spreading through a quiet room. Take a slow breath and allow the silence around you to deepen, because what's coming next is something your heart has been waiting to hear for a very long time. There were nights when you laid awake thinking about them. Not because you were weak, but because grief doesn't end just because life keeps moving. You held your pain quietly. You held your questions quietly. You held your love quietly. Michael says, you learned to suffer in silence because you never wanted to burden anyone. But here, in this moment, you don't have to hide anything. Your feelings are not too much. Your grief is not an inconvenience. Your heart is not wrong for remembering. You loved deeply, and deep love never fades just because time does. There were moments when you suddenly felt watched. Moments when you paused, turned your head, and felt someone near. You dismissed it. You told yourself it was imagination. But Michael says, your soul is more perceptive than your eyes. Your loved one has been with you in your quietest moments, not to haunt you, but to comfort you. When you felt abandoned, they stood beside you. When you felt lost, they placed intuition in your heart. When you cried into your pillow, They leaned close, carrying the love they couldn't speak in life. Heaven doesn't allow souls to interfere with your free will, but love can guide gently from the edges of your awareness. And that is exactly what they've been doing. There are tears inside you that you never let fall. Tears you swallowed because the world expected you to be strong. Tears you held back because you didn't want to fall apart in front of people who weren't ready for your truth. Your loved one felt those tears as if they were their own. They witnessed the moments you broke quietly, the moments you wanted just one sign, just one reassurance, just one message to say, "I'm still here." And right now, their soul is closer than ever, not in suffering, but in peace. They want you to let your heart soften. They want you to stop apologizing for loving them, for missing them, for remembering them. Because love does not expire, and neither does connection. Before they left, there was a moment where their soul became lighter than their body. In that moment, they saw truth without fear and without judgment. And the truth was, you were the person who made their life feel real. You were the person their soul gravitated toward. You were the calm in their storm. Even if they never said it enough, their heart felt it endlessly. You mattered. You still matter. And nothing about your connection was ever one-sided. Michael says, if love was the currency of heaven, your bond would still be wealthy. The one you miss does not want you to carry guilt or regret or unanswered questions. They don't want you replaying their last days or last words or last moments. They don't want you wondering whether you could have done more. They want you living in truth, that you loved them exactly as deeply as you could, that you showed up, that you cared, that your presence mattered more than you ever knew. Your loved one wants you to release the pain that never belonged to you, the guilt that came from misunderstanding, the grief that came from silence, the heaviness that came from love that didn't get a chance to be spoken. Now is the time to let healing enter the places that grief once occupied. Archangel Michael now expands the blue light around your energy, a warm, soft, steady light that feels like safety. It moves across your chest, loosening the tightness you've carried for years, across your throat, releasing the words you never said aloud, across your mind, calming the thoughts that kept you awake at night. This is the beginning of your deep emotional cleansing, not from pain, but from love. You are not being asked to forget. You are being invited to remember differently, not with suffering, but with peace, not with heartbreak, but with gratitude, not with emptiness, but with connection. Your loved one leans closer to your heart, and in a voice made of gentle memory, they whisper, "I never left you, and I never will." Not as a ghost, not as a shadow, but as presence, as love, as warmth that rises inside your chest when life becomes too heavy. They don't want you to chase signs. They want you to trust the ones that already came. The dream that felt real, the memory that returned suddenly, the song that felt like a message, the calm that entered your heart for no reason. That was them. every time, quietly, gently, faithfully. Take a soft breath and feel the quiet inside you deepen. Because you're entering the part of the message where your heart begins to shift. You may feel lighter. You may feel emotional. You may feel a strange calm that wasn't there before. This happens when truth begins to settle into the places that grief once occupied. Michael says, "Healing does not arrive loudly. It arrives gently, like dawn." And right now, a dawn is rising inside you. Not outside, not in the sky, but in your spirit. Because your heart is finally ready to hear what you could not hear when your pain was fresh. In life, you often hid your heart to protect yourself. You stayed quiet when you wanted to speak. You held tears when your soul needed release. You carried responsibilities that were never yours alone. But your loved one, the soul you're thinking of, saw everything. They saw your strength. They saw your goodness. They saw your loyalty. They saw your sacrifices, especially the ones you never talked about. And there were moments when they wanted to tell you how much you meant to them, how grateful they were, how deeply they respected you. But life did not give them enough time to say it clearly. So they carried those words in their heart. Tonight, they finally get to speak them through this moment. Your loved one wants you to know, I was your safe place. I was the one you trusted. I was the one who made your world feel less heavy. Even if they seemed closed off, even if they weren't expressive, even if they struggled to show emotion, their heart never hid from you. You were a light for them in ways you never realized. Their soul remembers how your presence made their days bearable. They remember your kindness, your patience, your softness, your understanding. They remember the times when life felt dark and you unknowingly became their comfort. They may not have had the words for it in life, but they have the clarity for it now. There is something you need to hear now. They saw your pain too. Not the pain you showed others, but the pain you hid. They saw the disappointment you swallowed quietly, the heartbreak you never spoke about, the moments where your smile didn't reach your eyes. They knew that life wasn't fair to you. They knew that you carried too much alone. They knew that you deserved more support than you received. And now their soul wants one thing, for you to stop carrying that old pain as if it is still yours. It's not. Not anymore. Tonight, you're releasing it, not because you're forgetting them, but because you're remembering yourself. Archangel Michael now places a gentle hand over your heart. It might feel like warmth, light pressure, calm, emotional release, a sense of finally understood. This is not imagination. This is emotional alignment. Michael is softening the parts of you that stayed tense for years. He whispers, "You don't need to be strong for everyone. You only need to be honest with yourself. You don't have to pretend you're okay all the time. You don't have to bury your grief or your love. You are allowed to feel. You are allowed to remember. You are allowed to heal without guilt. Your loved one's presence will never vanish. It only changes shape. You may notice a memory suddenly appearing, a dream that feels real, a smell you associate with them, a song at the perfect moment, a warm feeling when you're sad, a calmness that comes out of nowhere. These are not coincidences. These are connections. Souls on the other side don't shout, they whisper. And they whisper through emotion, memory, timing, intuition, soft inner knowing. Michael says, the connection is not broken. It is simply quieter than life. But quieter doesn't mean weaker. In fact, soul-to-soul connection is stronger than anything a human voice could have spoken. Your loved one wants to tell you something you've needed for years. I am at peace, and I want you to be at peace too. Not forgetting, not moving on without memory, but living with love instead of ache. They want your joy to return. They want your laughter to come back. They want you to choose life the way they wish they could have in their last moments. Your happiness honors them more than your pain ever could. They are not asking you to let go of them. They are asking you to let go of the heaviness that kept you from living. Before we move forward, take one soft breath, slow, gentle, and allow your chest to loosen. You're now stepping into the part of the message where grief begins to melt and healing begins to rise. Not because you're forcing it, not because someone told you to move on, but because your heart is finally ready to be held differently. Michael says, you cannot heal the pain you refuse to feel, and you cannot feel the pain you never felt safe to open. Tonight, you are safe enough. Safe to remember, safe to release, safe to breathe deeper than you have in a long time. Your loved one stands close, their presence soft, their light steady. They are witnessing your heart soften, not with sadness, but with truth. There is a moment your loved one has carried quietly ever since they crossed over. A moment you never witnessed, a moment you never heard, a moment you never got the chance to understand. Before they left this world, their soul had clarity their mind never had. And in that clarity, they realized something they desperately wanted you to know. You were the one I trusted. You were the one I loved. You were the one I knew would survive this. They didn't fear death. They feared leaving you with unanswered questions. They didn't worry about themselves. They worried about you. And in their final breath of awareness, your name echoed in their heart, because love does not forget the person who made it feel safe. There were things they wished they could have said, not dramatic things, but gentle truths. I wish I thanked you more. I wish I told you I noticed your effort. I wish you knew how much you meant to me. I wish I could have stayed longer. You carried guilt because you thought you didn't do enough. You carried regret because you weren't there in every moment. But your loved one never blamed you, not once. If anything, they are trying to remove blame from your heart entirely. Michael says, "The guilt you carry does not belong to you." You loved them with the best heart you had, and their soul knows it. Now they want you to let that truth enter your spirit and settle there. You may think you haven't received signs, but your loved one wants you to understand something. You haven't been missing the signs. You've been doubting them. Remember, the dream that felt too real, the sudden calm in chaos, the moment of warmth in an empty room, the butterfly that landed too close, the smell that reminded you of them, the song at the perfect moment, the number that repeats, the memory that hits without warning. Those weren't coincidences. Those were conversations. Gentle, quiet conversations from a soul that still speaks in love. They aren't trying to scare you. They're trying to comfort you in the only way heaven allows, through intuition, timing, and emotional resonance. Archangel Michael now steps closer. You may feel a deep inhale that wasn't intentional, a shift in posture without knowing why, a stillness you didn't expect. This is how divine presence feels when it aligns with your energy. Michael's blue light moves around you, clearing old heaviness, removing lingering emotional knots, softening the ache that lived in your chest for too long. He whispers, "You are not meant to walk in the shadow of this grief forever. You're meant to walk in the truth that love survived, not as pain, but as guidance." They aren't asking you to be strong forever. They aren't asking you to forget them. They aren't asking you to hide your feelings or bury your tenderness. They want one thing: peace. Peace in your decisions, peace in your relationships, peace in your sleep, peace in your future. They want you to live in a way that honors the love you shared with them, not the loss you experienced after. They want your life to be full again, full of meaning, full of joy, full of connection. Not because they're gone, but because love didn't disappear with their last breath. They want you to begin living again with a softness you thought you lost, because they see where your life is going, and it is beautiful. Before this part ends, Archangel Michael leans forward with a gentle clarity you will feel in your chest. He says, "Your heart is opening. Your brief is transforming. Your loved one is near, and you are not as alone as you once believed." Let these words settle into the quietest part of you. Take a slow, gentle breath and let your body settle into the moment. Because in this part, you will hear the words you should have heard long ago, the words your heart deserved, the words your loved one never had enough time to say. They wanted to tell you, "I'm grateful for you. I'm proud of you. I saw how much you tried. I saw how much you cared. I never took you for granted." But life ended too quickly, too unexpectedly, too silently, and you were left holding questions without answers, love without closure, grief without explanation. Tonight, that changes. Michael says, what was left unspoken will now be understood. Before their soul left the physical world, they carried one emotion, stronger than fear, stronger than confusion, even stronger than pain. Love. Love for you. Not a small love, not a temporary love, but a soul-rooted, deep, enduring love that traveled with them into the next realm. Your loved one wants you to know, my love for you didn't stop. It expanded. They didn't disappear. Their love didn't die. It transformed. It grew wings. It moved into light so it could follow you without limits. Soul connection does not need a heartbeat to stay alive. It only needs truth, and your connection was made of truth. Your loved one does not want you to carry guilt or regret, because they aren't carrying it either. Whatever mistakes happened, whatever misunderstandings existed, whatever words remained unsaid, they've let it all go. Not because they forgot, but because the soul sees life from a higher place, where fear becomes clarity, where confusion becomes compassion, where silence becomes understanding. They want the same for you. Michael whispers, do not punish yourself for what your heart could not control. Your loved one has forgiven everything. Now they want you to forgive yourself. You're not weak because you still miss them. You're not broken because your heart still aches sometimes. You're not stuck because memories still feel fresh. You feel this deeply because you loved deeply. And Michael says, grief is not the price of love. Grief is the echo of love that had nowhere to go. But now, that love finally has a path. This message is the bridge between your heart and their soul. You are not imagining the connection. You are experiencing it. You are not talking into emptiness. You are being heard. You are not mourning alone. You are being held. There are moments in your life where things almost went wrong. An accident avoided, a bad decision you stepped away from, a sudden intuition that said don't. You didn't know it then, but your loved one was guiding you gently, not interfering, not changing your fate, but nudging your intuition just enough to move you towards safety. They protect you through timing, through energy, through a strange sudden feeling that doesn't make sense until later. You thought you survived alone, but you didn't. You were guided, watched over, supported silently. Michael confirms, your life is still being shaped by the love of the one you thought you lost. Your loved one steps closer, their energy soft, warm, steady, and they whisper, I want you to live. I want you to laugh again. I want you to wake up without heaviness. I want you to choose life the way I wish I could have had. not because they're gone and you must move on, but because they truly want your days to feel lighter, your heart to feel fuller, your future to feel brighter. They want to give you the peace they never got the chance to hand you while alive. You deserve that peace. You deserve that gentleness. You deserve that healing. And they're offering it now. Archangel Michael now places a blue flame in your energy. Not a fire that burns, but a fire that frees. It releases regret, guilt, unanswered what if, emotional heaviness, old sorrow, buried pain, the weight you carried alone. You may feel a deep exhale you didn't force, a sudden wave of emotion that feels cleansing, a warmth in your chest that feels comforting. This is the beginning of spiritual release. Michael says, "You are ready to receive the part of the message that opens your future, because what comes next is not just healing, it is transformation." Take one more gentle breath, slow, deep, unforced. Because as you move into this part of the message, something inside you is beginning to shift. Not dramatically, not suddenly, but softly, like a locked door clicking open after years of silence. Michael says, "Your heart is awakening to truth you were once too wounded to accept." You are not the same person who started listening to this message. Your energy is expanding. Your awareness is widening. Your spirit is becoming lighter. You may not fully understand it yet, but your heart does. It always did. Your loved one's presence is becoming clearer, not as an image, not as a voice, but as a knowing. The kind of knowing that hits you when the room goes quiet, when the world feels heavy, when you close your eyes and suddenly feel them near. They want you to understand something important. They walk beside you in the moments no one sees, when you're strong in public but breaking inside. They're there. When you hold back tears to keep others comfortable, they're there. When loneliness feels sharp and you don't know why, they're there. Not because you can't stand alone. You can. You have. But because love, real love, never abandons its promise. And their soul promised to stay connected to yours long before either of you understood why. There are feelings inside you tried to bury years ago. The sorrow you never voiced, the ache you thought time would erase, the longing you never admitted, the love you felt guilty for holding, the questions you forced yourself to forget. Your heart didn't forget them. It just protected you. Michael says, "Your soul remembers what your mind tried to survive." And your loved one remembers too, not to reopen your wounds, but to gently bring truth where pain once lived. Tonight, they want you to know something. Your sadness was never a sign of weakness. It was a sign of love trying to speak through a heart that didn't know where to place it. Your loved one has been speaking to you in the only language heaven allows. Not through fear, not through shadows, but through softness. The moment you suddenly felt warmth, The time you felt guided to avoid someone. The day a memory came out of nowhere and stayed. The dream that felt more like a meeting. The flash of intuition that made no sense but proved right. You call them coincidences. They call them connections. Michael confirms. Every gentle nudge you felt was love trying to reach you through a world too loud to listen. But tonight, you're listening. Your soul is listening, and that opens a channel for deeper healing. There are moments in your past you still think about, moments where things could have gone wrong but didn't. You think it was luck, chance, timing, but Michael whispers, it was protection. Protection from choices that would have broken you. Protection from people who did not deserve access to you. Protection from paths that would have dimmed your light. Your loved one was part of that protection, not by changing fate, they cannot do that, but by guiding your intuition just enough to keep you safe. You survived things you don't even know you were shielded from, and you're still being shielded. Your loved one wants you to accept something your heart has been resisting. You deserved better. You still do. And your life isn't over, it's opening. They want you to stop, settling for less, doubting your worth, hiding your emotions, dimming your light to fit others, staying quiet to keep peace, believing your best days are gone. They see your future from a place where time doesn't exist, and what they see is beautiful. You may not believe in yourself yet, but they believe in you with the clarity of a soul that has seen your entire timeline. Archangel Michael now expands a shield of blue light around your spirit. This is not a wall. This is not armor. This is strength. Pure, calm, divine strength that doesn't need anger or fear to exist. You may feel your chest soften, your breathing deepen, a sudden quiet, a feeling of safety around your shoulders. This is your spiritual body aligning with truth. Michael says, your heart is no longer breaking, it is opening. And once a heart opens, healing becomes inevitable. Before this part ends, your loved one speaks through emotion, not words. I'm still with you, and I'm not letting go. Not in a haunting way, not in a heavy way, but in a way that brings comfort, clarity, and peace. You are not moving on without them. You are moving forward with them. Because love doesn't stay behind. It walks with you into every new beginning. And a new beginning is exactly where this message is leading you next. Take a deep, calm breath. Slow, gentle, like you're letting your heart stretch after being tight for too long. Because this is the part where deeper healing begins. The kind that doesn't feel dramatic, but feels like relief. Michael says, healing does not arrive loudly. It arrives when your soul says, I'm ready now. And your soul is finally ready. You've been carrying emotions you never talked about, not because you didn't want to share, but because no one ever created a safe place for you to open. Tonight, this is that place. There were days you carried everything alone: responsibility, expectations, emotional weight, unspoken worries, old heartbreaks, hidden fears. No one saw it. No one asked. No one realized how heavy it was. Your loved one did. They saw the quiet strength you held. They saw the empty spaces behind your smile. They saw how you showed up for everyone, even when you were tired, drained, and hurting. And they want to say, you should not have had to do it alone. But you did. And they are proud of you in a way that goes beyond words. Some connections don't fade with time. They deepen. Your loved one's presence feels stronger now, not because they suddenly returned, but because you finally slowed down enough to feel them. And when the heart becomes quiet, the soul becomes louder. You're beginning to sense sudden calmness, random warmth, clear intuition, memories that feel alive, dreams that feel like visits, energy shift when you think of them. This is not imagination. Michael says, your soul is becoming fluent in the language of connection. The more you heal, the more clearly you feel them. Your loved one leans closer now, their presence soft and steady. And though you may not hear the words, your heart understands their message. I didn't leave you. I simply changed form. They want you to stop thinking of them as gone. They are not gone. They are not lost. They are not far away. They exist in the quiet places of your life now, in the peace you feel, in the clarity that arrives suddenly, in the strength that appears when needed, in the choices you're guided to make, in the moments you say, I don't know how I knew, but I just knew. They are woven into your intuition. They are part of your guidance system. They are part of your emotional compass. This is connection, not memory. Michael now guides your energy through a soft release. You may feel warmth in your chest, loosening of old tension, a deep exhale, tears rising gently, a soft ache becoming lighter. This is emotional detox, not sadness, not grief, but release. You held on to the painful parts of your story for so long that your heart forgot how to rest. Tonight, your heart remembers. Michael whispers, you do not honor the ones you lost by holding on to pain. You honor them by allowing peace. Your loved one agrees. Their soul glows with relief every time you choose healing over hurting. Your loved one's presence becomes soft, warm, radiant. They want you to know, every time something good happens to you, I feel it too. Yes, they share your joy. When you laugh, their soul lifts. When you heal, their spirit brightens. When your energy becomes lighter, they grow closer, not because they were far, but because peace makes connection clearer. They are not watching your life from afar. They are walking beside you from just beyond the veil. You are not alone. You never were. In this part, Archangel Michael expands a shield of blue light around your future. It feels like clarity, courage, strength, calm, direction, new awareness. He says, Your future is opening in ways your past could not. There is something ahead that your loved one wants you to receive, a new chapter, a new peace, a new sense of purpose. You're closer to it than you think, and this message is preparing you for that shift. Take one gentle, slow breath and let everything inside you settle for a moment. Because this is the final part, the softest part, the part your heart has been walking toward from the very first sentence. Michael says, "You are ready now, ready to hear truth without fear, ready to love without guilt, ready to carry peace without apology." You've listened with courage, you've opened your heart, and now the deepest message is ready to unfold. Your loved one steps forward with a calm so pure it makes the air around you feel lighter. And though you may not hear the words in the physical world, your soul hears them clearly. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for remembering me. Thank you for carrying me in the quiet corners of your heart. But now they want to return something to you, something you lost the day they left. Your peace. They say, "I don't want my memory to be the reason you hurt. I want it to be the reason you heal." Their love for you did not freeze in time. It did not fade with distance. It grew into something even stronger than before. There is a part of you that has been stuck between grief and healing, not because you're weak, but because your love was strong. Michael now guides your spirit to release the part of your story that kept you anchored in sorrow. He whispers, "You cannot carry what your heart has outgrown." And your loved one adds, "Let the guilt go. Let the questions go. Let the heaviness go. None of it belongs to you anymore. You did enough. You were enough. You are enough." And the part of you that still feels responsible for things you couldn't control, that part is finally ready to rest. Your loved one now places something gentle into your spirit, a blessing, a peace, a stillness, a warmth. And the message they send is clear. I want you to live now. I want you to wake up with hope. I want you to walk into your future without fear. They are not asking you to forget them. They are asking you to remember them with light, not ache. They want you to smile again without feeling guilty. They want you to chase your dreams without hesitation. They want you to meet new love, new joy, new life, without thinking you're leaving them behind. You're not. They walk with you in every new beginning. The love you shared did not end. It transformed. It moved into intuition, dreams, protection, guidance, sudden calm, unexpected clarity in the quiet moments where you feel them near. They say, whenever you feel peace for no reason, that's me. Whenever you feel strong again, that's me. Whenever you feel hope return, that's me. They haven't left. They never will. Not because they're trapped, but because love never breaks its bond. Archangel Michael now places a shield of blue light around you and your future. It is a quiet kind of strength, a gentle kind of protection. He says, "This connection is complete, not broken, complete." Your heart has heard what it needed. Your spirit has received what it missed. Your path is open in a way it hasn't been in a long, long time. This final part is not an ending. It's a beginning. The beginning of peace. The beginning of clarity. The beginning of a new timeline. Your loved one steps forward one last time, their presence soft, clear, peaceful, and they whisper through the deepest part of your being, "Live your life. I'm with you. I always will be." Not as a memory, not as grief, but as love that walks beside you through every new sunrise. Michael stands behind you with his sword lowered, in blessing, not battle. He says, "It is done. It is sealed. You are protected. You are guided. You are free." Let the message settle. Let the peace rise. Let the light return. Because this was not the end. This was your awakening. Your soul is ready now to step into the life that has been waiting for you. With love, with protection, with guidance, with peace. Always.